Is a, I don't know what you call it, kind of a blind first impression video, I guess. It's not really first impression, it's just my impressions because I've worn these fragrances around for a few days. Oh, these are from fabulous reviewer. And if you haven't checked out Domperrier, you don't know what you're missing. This guy is so articulate and he's really into the vintage fragrances, a lot of them. And I have learned so much from him. But he sent me these 4 bottles of fragrances. One little vial and then these 3 really cool little bottles. And they weren't labeled and I was a little mystified by that. And then I thought, well, you know, I bet he did that on purpose. So, and of course he did. He's the type of person that always has a plan. So I wore him around for a couple of days and then I kind of fired off an email to him letting him know what I thought. And he emailed me back, but he said don't open it until I took care of my first impressions and to really analyze them. So I haven't looked at the email. I still have no idea what these 4 fragrances are. Okay, I gotta change this. I mean, I like retro, but Afternoon Delight by Starland Vocal Band. Nah, we're moving on. Sorry. How about Adult Alternative? Anyway, so I have no idea what's in these, and I wore them around for a few days, and I wrote down my impressions. I definitely have a favorite, and I definitely have a least favorite. Now, normally I'm not real into vintage fragrances. A lot of them smell very similar to me, and I just didn't like them. Now, I have a feeling 2 of these fragrances are vintage. And one of them I don't care for, but the other one I do like. Actually, a lot more than I thought I would. So, anyway, the first one that I tried on, let me make sure that I got these right. And I wore around for a couple of days. I wore them on different parts of my arm. Oh, sorry, I've got like an eyelash stuck. Yes, this is the one. Now this one here, the vintage, yeah, I'm just calling this one the vintage because I know this is vintage. This reminds me a lot. I just recently gave my mother a bottle of Intimate perfume. I think it was by Revlon. And it's been out of production for 30 years or something. But it was her favorite fragrance and I couldn't remember the name of her fragrance and she happened to mention it right before Mother's Day. So it took a while, but I found her bottle. And gosh, the moment I smelled it, it absolutely transported me back as a child. And it was a very kind of intense, spicy smell. And very, that vintage smell, I don't even know what's in it. Maybe it's Lily of the Valley or something. I don't even know. But it had that real smell that the perfumes had back then. And I think Intimate was started like in the 1940s or 50s, and then they stopped production in the 80s. So when I sniffed this bottle, I was just, it reminded me of being a kid, and my comfort was when I was upset, I'd put my head on my mom's lap and she would stroke my hair, and I could just smell her sweater. She always wore a sweater or a jacket, a nice blazer, and it always smelled like this perfume. And for that reason alone, I love this. This fragrance. I put down it's vintage, spicy, floral, and reminds me of Intimate. Has a slight pencil shaving smell. You know, an Ombre Sultan, that's why I don't like Ombre Sultan, is because it has a pencil shaving smell to me. That's exactly what it reminds me of, and it never goes away. So I'm not crazy about Ombre Sultan. Now this one, it definitely has that smell, but again, it reminds me Intimate, so it gets points for that. Not my favorite. It lasts pretty good. Sillage isn't bad. It's actually a little close, which I don't remember a lot of vintage being real skin scents. I usually remember them, you know, face punchers or whatever. But this one actually, I love because it reminds me of my mother. So who couldn't love that? Anyway, that's the spiral blue capped bottle. That's what I have on here, how I'm identifying them. The next one that he sent me that is my second to the least favorite. And at first it was my second favorite. Then I wore it around all day today and yesterday. And even after, I think I emailed him and said it was my second favorite. But then I fell in love with another one that became my second favorite. It's not that this one dropped, it's just the other one went up. The dry down was just too scrumptious. I just loved it. So this is the spiral bottle with the gold cap that he sent me. And that one I have sweet, vintage, floral, slightly tangy. Yeah. And it dries down into kind of a nice, to me, a sweet, not real sweet though, just slightly sweet, subtle, floral kind of a smell. Kind of reminds me of something, but I can't tell you what. Another fragrance. I want to say a pretty famous one, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a Chanel or something? I don't know. I don't know what this reminds me of. No, not a Chanel. Chanel's are different. But it reminds me of something. Anyway, I can't place my hand on it. I do like this one. Like I said, this is the other one that I thought really smelled vintage. And it's slightly sweet, floral with a slight tang. I have got this thing about tang and sour notes in my fragrances lately. I'm just digging the crud out of them. It's weird. My whole nose is just evolving all the time. It's like I used to hate rose and tuberose, and now I'm kind of digging them again. I used to really like violets, not as much anymore. So I don't understand it, but whatever. So this is my second to the favorite, or second to the least favorite. My second to the favorite is this smooth bottled blue capped one. And this one I have slightly smoky tea notes with a question mark, floral, potentially rose. It's not sweet. And this one has just this lovely dry down. Yeah, and see, I didn't like the top notes on this one at all. I like the top notes on this gold bottle much better. But the dry down on this one, it gets very, just slightly sweet, but it has just this slight, not a wood smoke, not a cigarette smoke, almost a coffee or tea smoke. I don't know if there is such thing, but, and then the tea notes, I like this one. I like this one a lot. And again, I have no idea what these are, but I really like this one. Very unisex, I think. My favorite one, though, is the Odd Man Out, and that's this little tiny glass vial that he sent with the other bottles. And this one I have reapplied a few times, and you don't need much. It's nice and concentrated, and it lasts really well. Oh, I really like this one, and it reminds me a little of something. Not a lot of something, but just maybe slightly of Ombre Rousse by Perfume d'Empire. I don't know. No, I can't say that. I don't know what it reminds. God, what is it? Maybe if you combined Ombre Rousse and Copper Skies by Kerosene, it would smell a little like this. Oh, I like this one. And this one, I said it's sweet and slightly sour. There's that sour note again. And see, on the top notes, it doesn't have as much of the sour as it does in the dry down. Spicy, cinnamon with a question mark, because I do definitely smell, I don't know, cinnamon and, I don't know, another spice in there, much more butch kind of spice. I don't know if it's cardamom or saffron or, I don't know. And then resin maybe, and it's slightly floral and slightly sweet is what I wrote. And yeah, this is definitely my favorite of the four that he sent me. And this one lasts the best, and it has a great sillage. It does get kind of close to the body after about an hour, but that's okay with me. And it almost smells, It smells kind of like a floral amber, slightly spicy, which I really like, with a slight sour note in it. Anyway, so now I get to find out what they are. So I just know those two are vintage. I just know it. Okay. It says, only open after you shared your impressions. So now I get to... So we'll start with the one that I like the least, and that's the curvy or the ribbed bottle with the blue cap. That one, gold cap, other ribbed vial. Teatro alla Scala, and it's vintage. Ha! Eau de Toilette by Crisia. So this one is Teatro alla Scala by Crisia. So it's not intimate. And it definitely smells vintage to me. There's just a smell that new perfumers are, I think they get by putting Lily of the Valley in it or something. I don't know, but whatever. So that was my least favorite. My second to the least favorite is the gold cap ribbed bottle. Gold capped rib vial is Coco Vintage Eau de Parfum by Chanel. Oh, I don't know if I've ever smelled Coco before. And this one I actually, and it reminded me of, did I say Chanel? Did I say Chanel? That this reminded me of a Chanel? I think I did. Did I say Chanel? I think I did. Dang, if I did, I got a little something going on in my head here. That's all right, I'm learning. And then my second to the favorite was the Smooth Vial blue bottle. And, oh, just to remind you that this vintage one I thought smelled spicy, floral, reminds me of intimate, slight pencil shaving smell. And that ended up being Teatro alla Scala by Crisia. And then the gold capped one, I said, where is it? Sweet vintage floral with a slight tang. And that one is the Coco Vintage by Chanel. I swear I said Chanel. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I'm probably making stuff up. Anyway, and then the smooth bottle, this one I said was slightly smoky with tea notes possibly, floral, maybe a rose, not sweet. And this one, smooth vial with blue cap, is Lure Blue Vintage by Guerlain. I've been wanting to try this. You know, somebody told me this was like one of the first gourmands. I don't think this is a gourmand at all. No, I don't. I mean, the tea notes are in there, but I don't get gourmand out of this at all, but I do like it. So this one was Lure Blue Vintage Eau de Parfum by Guerlain. Oh, so this one's vintage too. Oh, the first three are vintage. Okay. Yeah, this one. Oh, I have it on my hand. You know, and this one has a slight pencil shaving note to it too, but it's much more subtle than the other one. And then my favorite, this one, is, let's see, where is it? Smooth vial with blue cap? No. Gold vial? No. Other rib vial? No. Small vial. My own concoction yet to be named with notes of oud, citrus, rose, attar, and leather. Dom! Damn! You made this stuff up? Dang! I'm really liking this, Dom. And this one I wrote sweet and sour, slightly spicy, cinnamon with a question mark, resin with a question mark, slight floral, slightly sweet. And he said it has notes of oud, citrus, rose, attar, and leather. I didn't write rose in there, but dang, Dom. Nice job. I really like this one. I really like this one. You're going to have to let me know more about this one. Please PM me, will ya? So anyway, those were fabulous fragrances. What a wonderful thing he did by sending me those. I'm just so thrilled.